Hi, I'm John Ribbins. I'm creative director of Roll7 and I came up with the OlliOlli games back in 2012. I've been skateboarding since I was 5 and I'm 33 now, and Simon, who's one of the other directors and founders of Roll7, he used to skate in his teens, and then because we made a skateboarding game he got back into skateboarding as well. For me, I tried to make OlliOlli when I was like 13. I wasn't good enough at programming to actually make OlliOlli at 13, but that idea of trying to make a 2D side-scrolling skateboarding game has kind of always been there. I wanted to make an arcade game, and I'm a skater, so I wanted to be true to skating in that like a kickflip looks like a kickflip and a crooked run looks like a crooked run or whatever. I always thought it was interesting that like until OlliOlli I hadn't ever played a 2D skateboarding game where you could do a 180, so you'd be facing the other way from the camera, because obviously that's like so much more work because it's 2D, so you have to draw that person the other way around every single time for every single trick. So that was one thing I really wanted to do in OlliOlli, was make it that you could do like 180s and you could spin and land and ride switch, and we draw all the animations the other way around so you could be riding switch as well. But I don't think you have to like be a skate nerd to enjoy playing OlliOlli. Like, it's a Twitch arcade game basically. We're not pro skateboarders, we're not even close to being sponsored amateurs. Like, obviously OlliOlli is mainly about jumping down ridiculously big staircases and doing huge handrails and unrealistically big combos. None of those are things I can do on a real skateboard. My preference is some really nice flat land, maybe some low ledges, maybe something to do manual tricks on. But there's definitely an aspect to it that what I enjoyed most in skating is like just seeing who could do the most tricks in a row. And so I think there was always that excitement when you've landed like 3 tricks and you're like, will I get a 4th? And you get a 4th and you're like, well, I hadn't even planned to do 4, like what's my 5th one going to be? I'll try this, and maybe you get that, and that's like, that always feels really good. And I think that aspect definitely bleeds over into OlliOlli, where it's about keeping that combo going, and you land something, you're like, oh, will I get the next thing? Will I get the next thing? And you're kind of like, it has that same excitement where you're really hoping you don't mess up, I suppose. It does seem like there has been a lack of cool skateboarding games, especially 3D skateboarding games in like the last 5 years. I think sort of Tony Hawk ran its course. It was really great. It set up a lot of the rules for how you make a skateboarding game, and that kind of allowed the EA skate games to come along and break a lot of those rules and make a better control system for pulling tricks that kind of felt more tactile. That was really cool. Like, skate influenced us in terms of how we set up our trick controls in OlliOlli. We tried to simplify what they had down to one stick. But yeah, it does seem that, I mean, weirdly, like, skateboarding is increasing in popularity in the real world now, and skateboarding games seems to have dropped off over the last few years. But obviously the skateboarding is going to be at the Olympics next year. It's certainly more popular in the mainstream now than I think it's ever been. So I think we will probably see a lot more skateboarding games coming out over the next couple of years, whether that's the weird, twitchy, hardcore arcade ones like ours, or whether that's the super simulaty, realistic 3D open world ones. So OlliOlli 2 came out in 2015 on PS4. That was the first platform we came to. It then came out on PlayStation Vita. Now we're bringing it to the Nintendo Switch, which has been a long time coming. Anyone who sort of follows us as a studio knows that we spent 2.5 years making Laser League, which sort of took all of our time and all of our focus, and the Switch came out and we really liked the console and thought it was great, and I spent a lot of time playing games on the Switch. It's kind of like the perfect console for OlliOlli. So we have been itching to do an OlliOlli 2 and OlliOlli 1 port. The reason it's actually taken us a little bit longer than we thought it would is because we've spent so much time trying to make the game run as well as possible. The Switch obviously has docked and undocked mode, and that's kind of what makes it great, is you can pick the console up and take it with you on the bus or the train or whatever and play the game, and you can also plug it in and play it on your TV, but that kind of means you've got 2 different standards for how the game will run. And so OlliOlli is obviously a very Twitch reaction game. It's all about really, really precise timing, and it's really important that the game runs at a consistent frame rate the whole time. So multiplayer is going to be a thing. We added Combo Rush when we did OlliOlli 2 for the first time round. On PS4 that was cool, but not a lot of people have more than 2 controllers for their PS4, and a lot of people just play online with 1. So it really feels like when we started porting the game to the Switch, and you've got potentially 4 Joy-Cons because you use it for multiplayer anyway, that Combo Rush mode feels much more at home on the Switch than a lot of the platforms it's already been on. Like, it's really cool being able to take the Joy-Cons off and share them out and then do like a 4-player race or a 4-player score attack. We'd love to do more skateboarding games. Like, we still skate, it's still something that I do a heck of a lot of in my spare time. There are definitely ideas for many more things we'd like to do with OlliOlli in the future.